approve this, or can we just?
Nope.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. There's no old business. We do have we have one resolution under new business. I will read it for the record, resolution 2217. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Binghamton Local Development Corporation authorizing the BLDC to enter into a contract of services with SUNY Bloom Community College and into a grant disbursement agreement with Empire State Development for the delivery of the entrepreneurial assistance program through the Bloom Enterprise Triad Partnership. That sounds like a movie. You have in front of you a copy of the resolution. Any Sarah, anything you want to say about this before we?
No, this is our regular, essentially SUNY Bloom provides the actual service that Empire State Development is paying for. We're just an administrative pass through to get them the funds. We retain a 1% administrative fee for that work. It's mostly just uploading documents to a Dropbox for ESD to review. This funds the 60-hour entrepreneurial assistance program.
Can I have a motion? Susan, second. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Resolution approved. Report of the strategic planning, strategic priorities committee.
We some of this is crossed up with my remarks as well, but we discussed the DRI application of strategic priorities this month. We had our DRI presentation to the Regional Economic Development Council. Blocks out of my memory. It was very stressful. That's most of what we talked about, strategic priorities. We talked a little bit about continuing to build our relationship with the incubator, and Betsy had some good ideas about how we can strengthen that relationship. And obviously, Pear is here as well. We had our first silos event, which is BLDC funded. So we talked about that as strategic priorities, but that was a great event. I know strategic priorities happened before that, so we just discussed it conceptually, but I thought it went really well. We fund $1,000 sponsorship that puts our name on all of those, gets us invited and gets us to connect with those businesses, which is great. Builds our relationship with the incubator even more. Anything else I'm missing? Strategic priorities. Kind of a free-flowing conversation this month. I know one thing we really want to continue talking about in that is what we want to do, if anything, with our option to draw down our revolving loan fund to $500,000 every year. We have about $1 million in there right now. I think it's about $500,000 to play with. We did not come to any conclusions on strategic priorities.
If I remember, you said you had a conference you were going to, and you were going to talk to other
Yep. So
people about ideas out of the box.
Yes. So that's in November. Rachel and I will be attending that. So I feel bad I'm jumping around on things, but we are now members of the New York State Economic Development Council, which is a statewide council for IDAs and LDCs. So this organization is now a member of that, which gets us discounts on all of their trainings. So we're going to the Fall IDA Academy, which is also focused on LDCs. And we'll be mostly there to look at revising our policies to be better in line with the authorities budget office and what's the name of that law that we have to follow? Public authorities law. But while we're there, we want to connect with other IDAs and LDCs about how they're using their funds.
If you need any data or maps on the stuff that the RL requires in reference to finding out, let me know and I'll have that provided for you.
Okay. I think it's more that we can draw down the funds like we did for the DRI planning, and it can go into general CDBG spending. So thinking about what's eligible under that and then what aligns with the mission of the BLDC. Because $500,000 is a lot of money until you start talking about spending it, and then it becomes not a lot of money very quickly. So really discussing whether it makes sense to try to pick something we can totally fund with that $500,000 or a series of small things, or if we want that to be part of a larger project. I don't think we have any decisions.
Has there been any thought of a business district?
Business improvement district?
Yeah.
There could be, but it would, the way that they're structured would exist outside of this body. And the biggest barrier is that I don't think the businesses would be amenable to an additional tax on their properties. That's been our biggest hurdle historically, from what I've heard. Certainly open to it if the businesses and the property owners are. That'd be a separate administrative body. Questions on strategic priorities, or anyone who was there want to add anything?
Any inkling on the DRI?
Not a one. I haven't asked them.
There were 3 proposals or 4, so Johnson City, Ithaca. and,
No, us, and then, Roxbury.
Roxbury, and the Catskills.
It was a combination. I don't remember what the other town was. I heard we did well. I just don't know what that means for the vote.
Really?
There's a chance that in the next 3 weeks, they all could get funded. So 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, 13 and a half day or whatever. But congratulations on that work, Sarah. That was really quickly done, well done. And I think if anything, it's gonna draw attention to the stuff that's already happening in Glen Street. So it's really great. So I know we've had many sleepless nights. So. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, sure. So I'll sort of yield most of my time back to Sarah because I know she's got a full list. Again, just want to thank Sarah for her efforts on the DRI. You know, I many years ago was the point person on a former DRI, so I know the time that it takes and the communication and the rewriting and the things you think consultants are doing, but you have to end up just doing yourself. So I want to thank Sarah for that. I think the city had a great plan. It was a dynamic plan, and really my message to the REDC was one is that, you know, Binghamton is ready to do this. We have the institutional support with our different departments in economic development, planning, engineering. We can handle grants of this size, and we have, you know, the political will to want to revitalize Clinton Street. So that was my main message. I know that in other parts of New York State, community readiness was a problem in getting that $10 million spent and out the door. I wanted to make sure that there was no questions about Binghamton's readiness for this. So that was my main message. And I was sort of more of a Ed McMahon to Sarah's Johnny Carson. And
So
that's
it's really old.
yeah, which is,
You're young
but it's
for that.
good. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So I was happy to play that role, second banana.
Binghamton's youngest mayor just
Yeah.
Stephanie Bauer.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll let Sarah run down her list of great news items.
Oh, I vaguely remember. Yeah.
So I'm gonna rehash some stuff because I missed a couple of pieces in strategic priorities, but DRI, we're waiting to hear back. We are hoping to hear before the election, but we will see. We have a public meeting to finalize that effort. So in addition to it being a DRI application, it's also just a plan for the Clinton Street Neighborhood Business District. Win or lose on the DRI, it's still a community we want to be investing in. So our final public meeting is November 9th from 4:30 to 6:30. It's just a drop-in open house, so people can come and stay as long as they want. That'll be at the senior center in the first ward, and I can send more information once we have the media packet together for that. Like I said, we went to the Breaking Down the Silos event that is hosted by the Kaufman Incubator, and we are one of the sponsors this year. The first one was over at the Kaufman, the first one since 2019, maybe early
Yeah.
2020. Went really well. We made a great connection to a company called Standard Battery, who's looking for manufacturing space in the city of Binghamton. We'll be hosting the next one, so we're currently looking at options for venues. So if anybody has any ideas, feel free to let me know. Cannabis, so our cannabis zoning passed, that's outside of this body, but obviously impacts us. So all of the areas where we've been talking about cannabis being allowed are now codified in our zoning. Steezy completed a phase 1 analysis on the Charles Street Business Park, the parcel that they are looking to move into. That showed that there were no underlying environmental issues. They do not need to do a phase 2, and they can proceed with their approvals. We've had
Steezy is the company that's looking at
Steezy is the company that has signed an option with us for the Charles
my
Street. Business
NPR.
Park. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's very, I appreciate that. Well, and I'll make it even more confusing. The Shrine Group technically signed the option with us, but they are the parent company for Steezy. We've calls all the time about people who want to get involved in cannabis, either from a retail and growing, processing. So we're assisting those businesses the same way we assist any businesses that are looking to locate in the city of Binghamton. New Energy New York, I went to a great roundtable event. Pear was a member of that roundtable. It's great. Senator Schumer was there, really just continuing to keep the spotlight on the greater Binghamton area. And again, we've had some interest in the city of Binghamton to cite spin-off and support businesses in the battery space. So we'll again continue to try to locate those in the city as much as possible, as well as continuing to hone our arts and culture, as we know that that will be a large draw as more people come to the area.
Sarah, with all these people wanting to come into the city of Binghamton, is there like a map of available space?
So we don't
It-
keep a map. We used to have a PDF file. It just became really onerous to maintain because the properties are coming online and going offline so much. Joel knows every property owner and real estate person in town, so he's usually able to call around and figure out specifically what is available that meets the needs of different folks. But yeah, we've gotten away from maintaining a list just because it goes out of date so quickly.
And is there any big space available?
Not really, that's our big
Right.
problem right now. We do have a couple things that are looking to come online. One of the projects that is part of our DRI proposal was the renovation of the Titchener building into flexible
Mhm.
industrial space. But yeah, it's the one thing that we get asked for over and over again and can never have enough of. New builds are obviously prohibitively expensive, especially right now. So trying to identify unused industrial warehouse type space, but it's increasingly difficult. It's definitely a big challenge for
Right.
us.
I think there's enough. There appears to be more energy in the market right now, so I think that some of these things that have not happened are gonna start to happen. The inflationary part of it makes it really hard right
Right.
now, but I think you're gonna see some things, I mean, it's already happening, but things moving that for years, just because there's a lot of energy.
Be
And
great.
You know, this battery, Pear's battery thing is huge. Congratulations again, by the way, for that. Also, the Micron announcement in
Syracuse.
in Clay, which, you know, the job announcement is huge, but the argument that I'm making is that this is a major international company that decided out of upstate New York to locate. Any other company in the world that's looking to locate will look at that process and say, why wouldn't we go there? They've got water, they're somewhat immune from climate change, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there really will be energy around, you know, like the Dallas metro area. It's it could have a huge
Right.
huge impact across upstate. So I think it really is good for us.
Yeah, I anticipate there will be employees that work at that plant that live in Binghamton,
Yeah.
that raise their families on the west side or the south side. It's that huge of a draw.
40,000 ancillary jobs.
Wow,
That's kind of a hard number.
that's,
And how far of a
And-
drive is it from here?
And I mean,
To be
the
exact.
potential of the battery, your battery work is also huge. I mean, this is $100 million that you're investing. in the
113.
community. What's that?
113,
$113 million. Sorry.
a lot of money.
Do you want to say anything about I don't want to put you on the spot, but anything you'd like to say about
Yeah.
kind of where we are right now? It's really great to have you here this morning to.
Yeah, I mean,
Part of
where
this.
we are is that technically this was the kickoff with EDA, but the award is actually active. So we're trying to get all the sub awards in place. You know, we have Corning Community College on there, BOSIS is on there, and others, so some local, some regional, you know, incubator works going a little bit further, and then some statewide. So right now it's just getting all that in place so that everyone has their scope of work and starting to get things coordinated. I'm looking for some people to hire.
Are the job descriptions done yet?
Most of them are mostly done. It's sort of how do we manage it and handle it and what do we advertise and what do we just recruit. It's hard to find people now. Very hard.
yeah.
Sure is.
Well, let's hope that Micron can find the 40,000 people they're looking for, right?
Start
Yeah,
prepping.
Workforce Development Summit yesterday up in Turning Stone with Micron and New York State Building Trades. And it's all the buzzword right now it's workforce development.
Yeah, it's just hard because, you know, there aren't enough bodies to train right now. And then they put a lot of money into training of people that is hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I haven't sold that yet. I'm gonna do that.
we still have in this region a fair number of people who, I don't like to use this word, but who are underemployed. So if we could figure out
We
a
do.
way to
Yep.
upskill.
We have that, and we have actually a significant portion of people not in the workforce, or participation rate is pretty low compared to what it should be.
I have a 15-year-old who's very capable.
That's what everyone's talking about. We need to get them from high school and middle school.
Yeah.
Pipeline them into manufacturing jobs.
Spend less time beating up on his dad. Great.
Great segue into my next point, which is New York State did just launch a pretty aggressive workforce development initiative grant funding round. Patrick likes to remind me that it's not all about grants, which I appreciate, but sometimes it's nice to get some investment from New York State. So we're exploring where that makes sense for us to be a part of, where we can just be communicating with people that we will support them if they want to bring their own applications to the table versus us having applications. Certainly trying to capitalize on that. First round, I think, is due November 14th. And the second round is sometime in December. So we'll try to hit November 14th any way we can. It's nice to get in early and be considered, but we also put our Restore New York application in. So we requested $3 million to support an affordable housing complex on Clinton Street. We're optimistic about that. It's on a brownfield, so it's checks all the boxes for Restore New York. We also did hear that they got fewer applications than they were expecting for this round, so it makes our application more effective. Infrastructure Summit. So I'm working with the mayor and the Chamber of Commerce on putting together an infrastructure summit in January 24th in the morning to be exact. So we're looking to get a number of trades, people who are involved in transportation and infrastructure, to talk about a variety of things, including cooperative bidding, MWB participation, public-private partnerships, workforce. I know I had a meeting with a construction company the other day, and they said they're going to their typical workforce fairs they've been going to every year, and all of a sudden they've got companies from Florida and Colorado coming to New York trying to recruit people because the crunch is nationwide. So now they're not only competing with other New York State firms for talent, but they're competing with firms outside of New York. So everyone's kind of feeling that pressure. So anything we can do to get ahead of it, try to shore up that industry in New York State, get people thinking more forward. Jared, was going to add anything to that?
Yeah, this is kind of an idea that was kicking around and really got solidified. I was out on a job site on actually Glenwood Road and talking to the folks from Chicago Construction, and they said that they in the off season would love an opportunity to sit down with everybody, talk about what the best timing is for municipalities to put out bids. The fact that just in Binghamton, we're going to have something like $14-15 million of work just in infrastructure, just in the city. When you add in all of the other local municipalities, the county, the state, it's going to be probably hundreds of millions of dollars in work. The problem is that nobody's talking to each other about, how are we getting the workforce to do that work? How are we making sure that we're, bidding things out most efficiently to get projects locked in, so our folks don't go to other parts of the state. So that's really kind of the goal here. And again, something that we can grow on an annual basis. The chamber does a good job at these events, and we'll work with them to make it successful. We're excited about it. I'm trying to get a video message from the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, which I think we may be successful in getting. But that's my goal right now for it.
That's great.
And then some fun stuff. Joel is not here because he is getting his boiler replaced, which is very
Not
important
fun.
given that it's the winter. But he did a great job with the Columbus Day Parade. It was really well attended, very well organized and run. He does a great job with that every year. It's a huge lift, so we really appreciate that. And we had a great day for it. Weather was fantastic. Kids seemed to have a good time. And then looking forward, November 26th is the first annual, what do we call it, Cram Christmas, I think, the annual tree lighting ceremony.
Suppose.
Do you have a menorah?
It's actually a joke. We're not doing anything Christmas or holiday related. It's just basically the opening of the holiday shopping season. And then we're gonna leave the Santa content to the Parks Carousel the next few weeks. But
So
we
Small
will-
Business Saturday, we'll
Yep.
have, a tree lighting and everything, and get people downtown.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Hanukkah's the 18th this year, December,
it's early.
so. Do we have a menorah that we can light too?
We have a menorah at City Hall that in my office that we've had up in previous years, but we can work with one of the synagogues maybe to
Yep.
have some lighting downtown.
Any ideas, Ron?
Yeah, there used to be one on top of my building. I haven't been on top of my building, for fear of heights. But
Maybe there's.
I'm having a new
youngster
roof
around
put
there.
on, so
Okay.
I'll have somebody up there and check if it's up there. More than happy to give it to the city.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. That'd be good.
Would love to, would be great. And then that's all I had. We have a number of just logistical things. Rachel and Chuck have been working on our audit. I think we're presenting that in November is the plan.
November, December, we got some issues.
Okay, so we'll let you guys know. The November meeting is traditionally earlier, just because of Thanksgiving. And we try to give you guys December off when possible, so we'll let you know about how timing is working out with the audit. If we can get together and present it, then we'll try to do something fun. You know, been missing snacks and coffee, so try to get that for you at least once a year. But we'll keep in touch on that. I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, November is generally the annual meeting. We would present like the annual report as well at that meeting. I think that I am owed a couple of things from a couple of you for that, but in general, I think it'll be a really good document. It'll be much more robust than in past years because we're really doing a lot more than we were at least last year in terms of loans and projects. So it'll be a good thing.
Any update on the Kentern project?
Moving forward, they also got a phase 1 on that site and it was clear, so no need for a phase 2, which meant that they could meet their deadlines for their site suitability with the state.
Okay.
This is the Stadium District, Stadium Lofts project across from the state. Yeah, and I actually have a call with Penn on Monday, just kind of checking in, touching base. We were able to, hopefully, he went before the planning commission and, you know, as anyone who knows that area over there, there's kind of 0 lot lines and parking was going to become an issue, so we got them connected with the baseball team, and I think they're gonna be able to cut some sort of parking deal, because on 300 nights out of the year, there's no need for
Right.
parking demand in that stadium, so they'll be able to create sort of a park share type of system,
Okay.
benefits this baseball team, benefits these residents, and can activate kind of underutilized parking. So that'll be good, and I think that'll figure all their planning commission concerns.
You use the word activate, which is like.
That's a planning forward thing, very much. Berkeley, we're activating things.
Very smart. Okay. Anything else?
How about Kmart?
Oh, sure, yeah, you know, we were successful at the federal level with our, basically action to remove the bankruptcy protections from BLDC Realty, which owned the Binghamton Plaza. And, the federal judge sided with us, and, that bankruptcy protection is no longer. It means a couple things can happen. Number one, Broome County can move forward on foreclosure action on that property. If the BLDCs do not pay something about $500,000 in taxes by the end of December, Broome County will take that property. It also allows the city to move forward with an eminent domain action, which is handled at the state level courts when it's, you know, ultimately challenged by BLDC, which we imagine it will be. You know, what I'm saying right now is nothing I haven't said on the public record. You know, if anyone has any other questions or wants more sort of detailed information, feel free to contact me one-on-one, or, you know, at a future meeting, we can go in executive session. Just because anything at a public meeting, I don't want to reveal any legal strategy or too detailed of updates.
We still talking about the year or more, or?
We were told a little bit, maybe a little bit less in the time frame. The initial action is for the city to publicly say that we intend to take these under our police powers, a condemnation, eminent domain, and then that really starts the clock, which is probably something like a 9-month time frame.
And Bates Troy, when does that option expire?
Good reminder. So we are going to send a formal rescindment. We debated whether it needed to be a resolution or not, but because the option agreement just allowed the president to enter into an agreement, it did not bind us to enter into the agreement. we'll just send them a notice that, as of August 30th, the end of our plan year, that formally expired, and that if they would like to enter into negotiations again, that they are welcome to return to us, and then we'll make sure we put an actual expiration, or note that it should be the end of each plan year and options moving forward.
So they have not responded to the agreement?
No.
Not even responded?
They came back and said that they needed to review it additionally, and responded that they didn't think that it was in their best favor, the way that it was written, but did not come back. to us.
Offer a negotiation.
Right.
Any updates with Water Street development? Everything going well there?
Yeah, we met, last week, was it, Chuck? 2 weeks ago, back when the Yankees were still in the playoffs. We met with, Pike United, to sort of finalize, to hone in on some of the question marks. We know the garage is moving forward, right? We have the funding for that. The question right now, or sort of the coordination right now, is the additional costs that are needed at that garage to support the housing component above it. And when this project was originally put out, I mean, housing was the key part of it. That's what makes it dynamic for downtown. That's what makes it kind of really change the streetscape and the landscape. So I really want that to happen. But the costs of that housing have gone up more than the costs of the garage. So we're finding a way to, how can we make that work from a financial standpoint? And one of the things that we're kind of talking to them right now is there a way that they can include an affordable component in units as a way to maybe unlock some additional money? That housing diversity is good for downtown, to have a small percentage of units to be affordable, something like 80% AMI. Puts people in the commercial area that can go to jobs, that sort of thing. But those are kind of the conversations that are happening right now. They're in talks with the agency regarding a pilot. And I think, in the next couple of months, we'll be pretty firm about what the next year or so holds. But the intent is still springtime, major construction on the precast concrete being built like Legos, as was 7 Holly Street. And Chuck, I don't know, does that kind of summarize it from your standpoint, or?
Summarizes, one of the things we have to really get a commitment on is the housing, because the garage, building the garage is dependent on what
Correct.
goes on top.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to get that commitment before we move this thing forward. The other aspect of it is we did put a temporary parking lot over there, at least for the holiday season, for all the businesses over there, so we can get some of the people off the street. And there's an additional, I think it's 51 spots over there.
Is it available now?
Yes.
There's a picture on social media that's somewhere.
It's free 2-hour parking
Parking
for
lot.
the holidays. No
Is it
overnight
monitored?
parking. It's monitored, yep, during the day. No overnight parking. So,
Run, a few times I've been over there, doesn't seem like people are utilizing the parking lot. There's still a lot of people on the street. Maybe we need to make an announcement or something, but try to see people there.
Can you come by sometime, right? You and I could walk over there, because I haven't heard about it being open and available. And does it look like it's inviting people to please feel free to park here for 2 hours?
Never had the guts to drive in there.
Hmm?
I said many times, I never had the guts to drive in there. It doesn't look like we should go in there.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
We just got done.
Oh, no, I just parked on the street there. It's like, yeah, but park there, but no.
I'll drive
That
by
must
today.
be private.
Have a field
Yeah.
trip.
if we have
We
to
can get
put,
coffee and I'll go over it.
if we needed to think about additional signage, et cetera, I think we do have some signs up there about it's 2-hour, but
Maybe we do.
Or an announcement for the holiday season.
we
Yeah.
did do something in the media, but
I don't know where,
Yeah,
I
nobody gets
don't
paid
know
for it
what
anymore,
rock
yeah.
I live under,
exactly
but
right.
Leading up to the small business Saturday.
yeah. Yeah, Boscov's has been pushing it out.
great
but
idea.
When, again, it's one of these things, when downtown swells kind of in the Christmas time, and the holiday shopping time, and I'm sure that those would be utilized, but to let people know that they are there, and it's free.
Maybe some higher signs. I think all those signs we have are like eye level, maybe something. kind of like that.
Yeah, we may need to nix like one on each side of the existing on-street parking. Looking at some of the photos,
Take a look at it.
but we wanted to get the pavement in before they shut down the plant, so.
No question, it's just, that's great that it's there.
It was actually open the 18th. Is the date that it was open.
Hasn't been very long.
I've got two things, one serious and one not so serious. The serious one is, just so the body's aware, you've been mentioning it, job training in and of itself. If Wilmot job training can qualify under CDBG, so if you're looking to use those funds, it's possible to use that for job training, and it doesn't meet the service cap, which is one thing that's kind of kept us, I think, before from looking at that. So that is an option for CDBG, the restricted one, if you're looking for additional funds to help with job training initially.
So that doesn't strike against our service cap.
It does not, because it's considered economic development. So,
Okay.
but the reporting's a little different, so it wouldn't fall under the BLDC's business assistant, falls under, sorry, it's another thing to track.
Okay.
So, sorry. And then the not so serious for Christmas, come on, Mayor Krampus, it's right there, like, the naming is right there, you've got to go with that.
I was, we were envisioning a Clark Griswold style Christmas vacation where I, take 2 extension cords and electrocute myself or something.
See what happens after the election.
That's right, that's right. We'll have to get the IBEW involved, it's a lot of voltage.
Wow.
I know some special effects people.
That's right, that's right.
We've got the right resources to put on the table. Anything else this morning for the group? Motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Thank you, Betsy. It's all set.